Hey there, and welcome to State of Refines. In this video I'm going to be having a look at where refines are at the moment in FEH, and try and figure out what some of the patterns might be as to who's getting refines next. There are some characters left way behind in Book 1, and there are some characters in Book 3 eagerly waiting their opportunity to get refines. I think the main problem is that Book 1 especially was so big. I think it took them a lot longer than even they perhaps expected to give all these characters refines. But as Book 1 is drawing to a close and we're well on the way with Book 2, it's interesting to have a look at the seasonal characters and perhaps not so distant in the future characters like Hiya, now on the horizon of getting their refines, and predicting perhaps when these might happen. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thank you so much for watching. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's start off with Book 2 units, as they're the main pool of characters that are currently being chosen from in terms of weapon refines. I've colour coded them for you here in this grid, just to give an idea of who might be next. For example, the dancers aren't really getting refines yet, we haven't had any dancers. Although, something could be said for the fact that Legendary Azura has been added to the remix rotation. This is showing that they aren't so afraid of upgrading dancers anymore, or at least they feel like they have to. So dancers may be closer than you think. But for now, the general, I suppose, imaginary rules that have come up over these years, are that healers don't tend to get refines unless they have pref weapons already, much like seasonal characters. Legendary heroes are possible now. And then strong weapon type characters like Reinhardt and Olwen who have Dire Thunder are still treated as characters that don't necessarily need refines yet. But in terms of people that we can confidently say might get a refine soon, we usually get one heroic grail unit a month. Even this month with the Choose Your Legends characters, we still managed to get Male Karna, which is really nice just to keep the ball rolling with the Grand Hero battles and Tempest Trial people. But you've also got 3 and 4 star characters. They didn't do one this month, probably because it would have been too many. But there are still a handful of 3 and 4 star units in Book 2 that still need refines. Now it's quite hard to tell which character specifically might be chosen next. However, if we look at the heroic Grail units, it's a slightly different story. As far as Grail units are concerned, Julius is likely to be next, because they seem to be following a pattern ever since Oliver's refine, where if you look at the Grail shop it shows you the order of which these characters released. If we disregard the seasonal heroic Grail characters, and also the healers and dancers that don't have pref weapons, this is the likely order that we'll be seeing over the next few months, as long as nothing changes or is pushed back. So you can expect to see Julius in the next update in a month's time, and then Canas, Walhart, so on and so forth. This is quite nice because there are a handful of units here that I've invested in. In fact, 4 of these I've plus 10'd, the latter 4. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they get for their refines. In fact, they'll all be in a row, which will be quite exciting. That's as long as they don't switch things up and do Evelyn and Adrift Azura, since they are non-seasonal characters, but they are dancers and healers respectively. Or the other way around. Now then, this is the entirety of the Book 2 cast. As you can see, it's about double what we have left. So we're about halfway through Book 2 already, and it's quite nice to see that we've come a long way. There are a lot of units here who I thought would have got refines much later, and they've already got refines. For example, the distant counter characters, especially the Book 2 ones. The Brave Heroes I didn't think would get refined so soon. And even Lewin. Lewin's a really strong unit and they gave him a refine. So, you know, there's a lot to be said about Book 2. But yes. Next, let's have a look at the Book 1 units. Now, there isn't really much else to be said about these characters. We've got healers and dancers, which, like I said, have not had refines properly yet, unless they have pref weapons, and that only applies to healers. And then you've got special character weapons, such as, Base Hector's a special case because he has LA Hector's Berserk Armads, which got a nice refine, whereas the Dire Thunder duo Well, that speaks for itself. Dire Thunder's a very strong weapon. So that's really it. But as you can see, there are barely any Book 2 units left. So it's a case of when intelligent systems are prepared to give these characters refines, or whether they think that the other characters from Book 2 need them more first, which is why they're delaying it, really. Now, if we have a look at the original roster for Book 1, it is huge. It's no wonder it took 2.5 years, or 3.5 years even, to get through all of these units. It really goes to show that they perhaps weren't doing these fast enough. If it were me, I don't feel like weapon refines take too much development time. I would try and get 8 of these out per month, rather than just 4 on average, because especially with the Grail units, they're very far behind with updating characters that really need a boost. That's just my opinion though. I think that many people would agree that characters like Rutger and Ha could use refines, and they're waiting about a year at least yet before they get theirs. And if we compare Book 1 to Book 2, you could see that Book 1 originally was quite a lot larger than Book 2 at maximum. Just another reason why it took so long to get to where we are. And then if we have a look at the comparison now, even both together, there's barely anything left. We are on the cusp of Book 3, so it'll be exciting to see what happens next with Book 3 characters. This is all I have to show for Book 3 at the moment. This is the first time I've constructed a grid and colour-coded Book 3 units, and much like Book 2, there aren't too many here. What's most interesting about Book 3 is that it has the largest mix of base stat total BST generations. So the first couple of banners, which included a couple of the Beast unit banners, they were all still Gen 2 BST as far as I'm aware. And then Gen 3 BST lasted a few months until Choose Your Legends, where with Sigrun, who had I think BST boosted from Choose Your Legends stats or something, we then moved straight into Gen 4 BST. So we're 3 whole generations moving over each other here, something that was very different compared to the last. So it is unclear whether intelligent systems will choose to do the Gen 2 characters, then the Gen 3, then Gen 4, or whether they'll just treat them all the same as Book 3, like they have with previous characters and refines and events. There are quite a lot of interesting characters here, but I think the time is fast approaching for these characters to get refines, not only because we're running out of Book 2 units, but also because some characters here, like Legendary Azura and Legendary Lucina, are going to get remixes very soon. And we've also just had the Choose Your Legends characters from Book 3 announce their refines. So all of you there who are rooting for especially the Grand Hero and Tempest Troll characters, if you have a look at the Heroic Grail shop, you'll be able to roughly calculate when your character might be getting their refine, unless of course they mix things up. Personally, I think if they're going to do anything with refines, it's speed them up. They seem to be a bit more lenient with giving more than 4 characters at once refines, especially when there's Choose Your Legends and Legendary Heroes involved. They seem to be quite fine doing multiple at a time. So it'll be interesting to see what becomes of that. But yeah, that's about it for Book 3. Tell me below who you are excited to see get refines from this bunch. The last group of units I'll be discussing today are the Book 1 and 2 seasonal units. Now these are quite a peculiar case because so far the only characters that have received refines out of the seasonal characters are the ones with pref weapons. Once again, ignoring the sing and dance characters, we only have 2 left, Bridal Tharja and Summer Tana. Now, as they've been doing these in order of release, much like the Heroic Grail characters recently, we can predict that Tharja will be October and Tana November. That being said though, what happens past this point is completely unpredictable. Please tell me down below what you think might happen next. Do you think they'll leave the rest of the seasonal characters, or do you think they'll do them in batches such as the first spring banner, or whether they'll just randomly choose batches of characters they think need them first? It's all to play for with the seasonal units. They're probably the hardest to read, and they're certainly in no rush to do them because Bridal Tharja was due this month, But unlike Male Kana, where they want to get through the Heroic Grail characters, they're in no rush to get through the seasonals. But the fact that they're refining seasonal characters at all is really interesting, so it will be interesting to see what happens afterwards. That brings me to the end of this video, really. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was interesting seeing all the characters and how far along we've come with refines. And please feel free to tell me in the comments who you think is getting refined next month in October. Tell me which characters you think, which Grand Hero battle, which maybe 3 and 4 star character you're hoping to see next, or even legendary heroes, you know. And I'll be making a video on legendary remixes soon, so keep a lookout for that one. But thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope it was useful in some way and exciting. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well and stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.